Hey guys, thanks for stopping by. I hope everybody's doing alright. So, something was brought to my attention, and so I thought we should check this out. I'm not sure what I'm looking at right here because total cases went under 1 million right here. I know that we were over 1 million, which is still a far cry what total cases for the H1N1 virus. That was 20 million minimum in America alone. So anyway, I'm having trouble still understanding the whole panic over this thing. I understand it's really contagious and stuff like that, but really, I'm not sure what's going on. But something was shown to me. I thought you might find it interesting. So if you go to the coronavirus website, you can see down here cases in the US. So this thing's updated at 4 p.m. Okay, total cases. Okay, 304,000. That's quite a jump. And total deaths is nearing 8,000. That's suddenly just a jump. But here is something really interesting I thought you might want to look at. It says right here that the data included both confirmed and presumptive. Wait, that means they're presuming without testing? I'm pretty sure that's what that means. Right there. So, that might drive your numbers up quite a bit. Also, there was something about anything that they can combine with this, like pneumonia. Right here, coronaviruses, as well as influenza, can be now connected. Do you see that? Flu activity, elevated influenza like illnesses, likely, not proven, not tested, not known to be, likely related to COVID-19. So what are they doing? They're doing everything that they can think of to drive these numbers up. Meanwhile, China sits around figuring out ways to drive their numbers down. So then when they put it up on this nice scary board right here for everyone to get scared about, well, it makes the United States look like they don't really know what we're doing. And so it makes China look like, well, they know exactly what they're doing, but there's a lot of talk about them hiding their numbers. So what do you got to believe? Anyway, we need to talk about that more in some of the next upcoming videos. But that's really good news in my mind, because what this does is this proves right here that they are throwing numbers around recklessly and scaring people. Influenza. I think there was somewhere on here that showed me weekly influenza gosh, I think it was like 23,000 or something so far this year. So that's way more dead people. We're certainly not gauging this on dead bodies. I don't know what we're gauging it on anymore. The unknown. I think it's the unknown just scaring everybody really bad. So the good news is it's not getting a bunch of dead bodies piling up. But as we test, we look like we have the most because we test the most. That's the simple fact. We look like we have the most cases because we know about the most cases, and we're going to, get everyone tested. I want my test. I want my check. And I know Donald Trump is on it. Anyway, I don't know if you've ever seen Steven Crowder, but
if you boil dogs alive and you pay children $1.25 or $3.25 a day, if you allow women to be beaten or they require 4 witnesses for rape, you, we don't need to listen to you. You don't get a seat at the international bargaining table.
Please subscribe
Let's
to
talk
Steven
about
Crowder's
this right now.
channel.
Everything wrong with China, and not just as a part of this pandemic right now.
Right.
But I think, if nothing else, this has sort of lifted the veil for a lot of people to realize, like, hey, as far as international trade goes, as far as the agreements, they're not necessarily our friends in every country. Doesn't mean they're necessarily enemies. I don't want to be you should be American, buy American. I mean, have you driven a Volt?
And Crowder is very
I don't even know that they have.
He's an honest dude.
I don't even know that they have a AAA in Japan. You just call a guy and he shows up. Buy a Toyota. Okay. Oh, no, not a mechanic. Salesman. He's a macad. So, point is, now that I said that, we can dump on China. So listen, Donald Trump has been trying to sound the alarm, particularly as it relates to international trade on China, for quite some time.
I'd like to have you take a look at the fentanyl that's coming out of China and Mexico. Major Chinese drug traffickers and they have really put very, very strong clamps on them. They've indicted them when
Cuomo
they
said
charge
nipple clamps
25% for a car to go in. And we charge 2% for their car to come into the United States. That's not good. We've taxed China on $300 billion worth of goods and products being sold into our country. He said he was going to stop fentanyl from coming into our country. It's all coming out of China.
Now, here's the thing, and I've talked about this, I don't like the idea of tariffs because it's a tax passed on to the consumer. However, there is a valid point when you do have countries, and it's no longer equitable. If they are taxing our goods going over, right? Because as more libertarians, we agree, like, listen, we shouldn't be just putting a tariff on to punish a country, but if they are punishing us, there really isn't a fair international trade agreement, and I think, and no one, by the way, Bernie Sanders talked about this, the Clintons talked about this a long time ago. I know NAFTA, we can go into Bill Clinton, but if you listen to Hillary Clinton's rhetoric, but certainly Bernie Sanders, Donald Trump's the first person to do anything as it relates to trade. That's not what we're talking about today, but it has sort of fostered an environment with this festering pustule that has become the Chinese Communist government. China this week, they reopened the wet markets that
this is what I wanted you to see.
Allegedly the source of all this. And by the way, they're still selling bats, dogs, and cats. And I want to be clear, and I tried to be really careful, by the way. I want to warn you, we're not showing anything graphic as far as videos, but
so guys, only 2 theories as far as I know have been even put forward. Either it came from the wet markets, which they're about to describe to you is a slaughtering sales floor at the street level in a highly populated metro area, or it leaked out of some laboratory, and this is a man-made thing. If you ask me, either way, this is making China look really, really bad, really foul, really uncaring toward humanity and human life. And yeah, I better stop before I start saying something really bad.
But to me, it's still disturbing. It's really hard for me to do any of the animal stuff. So let me describe it for you and then tell you you're not going to see anything other than dogs in cages at the market. Okay, wet markets, allegedly, from what we understand, created the virus. And now, while the rest of the world is still going through the pandemic, They reinstated them. To understand the severity of that, imagine the United States removing all the social distancing guidelines and then banning soap. That's how severe bringing back the wet markets can be. No hygiene standards. Please, the cruelty, though, it's over the top.
We'll
dogs are kept in cramped.
Just go to his channel. He's just amazing guy. He's got amazing energy, and he's got guts, man. He is he's really edgy, but you know what? He's fair. He's fair, and he speaks out for and against anything he sees that's unfair. Anyway, guys, I just want to share that stuff with you. Thanks for your time. I really appreciate it. And thanks for all the positive comments and the support everyone's giving me. I really, really appreciate it. And we're going to work hard to give you more videos as fast as we can. Sorry for the throwing these together, as we're kind of learning as we go. So, again, appreciated, and see you soon.